Hey guys, welcome back to another week. This week we're having a little sit down, a little chit chat, or one-to-one. You know how it is. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Nurse Diaries. I do everything to do with nursing and women's health. So if you want to know more about nursing, if you want to know my journey within nursing, I have videos of me when I was a student nurse up until now. It's been almost 3 years as a registered nurse. So if you haven't already, just make sure you check out all my videos or most of my videos or whatever you find interesting. And if you are somebody that's always watching this, welcome to another week. I post videos every Sunday at around 9:30 British time. So yeah, let's get into this week's video. So this week we're going to speak about how it's like being a practice assessor. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. I am a registered nurse, as I said before. I've been almost 3 years qualified, and it's so weird going from being a student nurse to being a newly qualified nurse to being experienced to the extent that you are even now becoming a practice assessor. So it's a bit weird, but we're going to talk about it because it's something that I didn't even realize I would be in a position to do. And it's weird because you know how it is when you're a student, those feelings are still there, and then you're also trying to discipline these students to be the future. So I'm just going to give my honest opinion and my honest advice for practice assessors and also for students as well, because it's time to be real. So being a student nurse is hard enough, and having to go on placement is tough. I remember the feeling, the anxiety the day before and anxiety on the day, just going to a placement, just literally following the address on Google Maps, finding your way there, trying to be brave to speak to people. So I try my best to be as approachable as I can, and now speaking as an assessor, I try and be as approachable as I can to the students, ask them like, you know, if they're okay, etc. Even if they're not my student in particular, I like to ask those questions. But also, if I am your assessor, I try to make you feel as comfortable as possible. I feel like it's really important to make students feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, this is their placement, and this is already daunting, being in a new environment in front of different people, and know that you're assessed for things that you do, so you don't want to come across as lazy, etc. But I also like to give you guys advice, like I want to be that person that you guys feel safe around, and I also want to be able to give you real advice, so that if you go to another placement, you know, like you know what to expect. If I feel like, for example, I feel like you're being a bit like lazy, etc., like yawning on multiple occasions in front of me, I won't be rude about it, but I'll just give you a heads up, like, oh, just be mindful of this, of that, etc., just so that you can learn and grow. Because I know how it is. I was yawning on my placements, I was told off in a disrespectful manner, and I don't want to happen to you. So I'm just going to tell you respectfully, and so that you know and you're alert. So if you feel tired, you know, to go for that walk or go for that break, toilet break, etc., just to replenish yourself, just to make yourself more energetic, etc. Yeah. One thing that I always say, especially when I have my own students, is it's really important to be on top of your pad. Don't be chasing me down for your e-pad. It's very important to get some discipline, get some structure in. If you have me as an assessor, I try to ensure that we make sure that your pad is priority, and I try to make it as simple and as easy as possible. But it doesn't happen to every single individual, and it depends on what student you are. I have students who are really eager to learn, and I have an amazing time with them, just like I have students who I personally wouldn't be like that on my placements when I was a student nurse. But I realize that there's actually people who are completely different to you, and there are students who do make being an assessor very tough as well. So it can be challenging, and that's something that I didn't think was a thing, because I know how I was as a student, and I knew that I just wanted to get my placement done, I wanted to get my hours done, and I wanted to have good feedback. But not everybody is like that. So that's one thing that I have learned as an assessor, which I didn't think I was going to you know, go through, but I have. But it's also been good because it's allowed me to understand that there's different students, and you can see when someone is eager to learn, which is amazing to see. And I love people that are eager to learn. We go together hand in hand, because we literally like have the best time. But if my advice for you students that are watching this would be literally ask questions. Don't feel shy or embarrassed to ask questions, because at the end of the day, we know how it is. We were students, and we know that you're here to learn. You're not our staff member, you're not our colleague, but you're here as a student to learn new information. So we're always going to be happy to share that information with you. I know that some people have bad experiences with placements. I think literally the other day I posted on Instagram and somebody actually sent me a question saying, what do you do when you've had a very bad placement and you have a very bad assessor? If that is the case, then I would say don't feel like you're alone. You can speak up to university about it, and you can speak up to the ward manager about it as well. I think the person who obviously is not involved in that situation and is actually somebody of like power, so for example, if your assessor is the one who's being mean to you, speak to somebody else about them. Like, just definitely report it, because it's important. Think of it as a situation. I remember when I was a student, I had an assessor who I just didn't get along with. She was horrible to me, and I just had to report it to one of the managers. And at the time I felt like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because as a student, you're thinking, oh, I don't want to jeopardize a person's career, and also I just don't want to get myself in trouble. I don't want it to be an awkward environment for me when I know that I'm stuck here for a certain amount of time. But at the same time, I thought to myself, do I want the younger generation, do I want other student nurses to go through the same thing that I went through? So you guys always think about that when you are, you know, on your placements. If you've spoken to the individual and they are not changing their ways, then it's important to speak to somebody else about it as well. So that's something that I would say. We are here to support you, and if there's someone that's not here to support you, please do speak up about it to somebody else. But yeah, the main thing I would say is get on top of your book. I always tell my students, we need to make sure your book is done, but don't rely only on me. I want to see you coming and telling me, I want to learn this proficiency, etc. So one thing I always say is look for your proficiencies and tell me something that you want to learn from that today, so that we can actually tick it off. If you do that with all the time, then you'll be amazing, and you will see that at the end of the placement, you won't even have anything to worry about, because everything will be done. Also, don't only rely on your assessor to do everything, because those proficiencies can be done with somebody else, and that person can give feedback to your assessor saying that, you know, I work with so and so today and we did this and that. So then your assessor can say, okay, if that's the case, then cool, I'm happy to sign you off. But don't wait for your assessor to come on one day and fill everything in on the last day, because you never know. Hospitals are a place that is unpredictable. You never know what can happen on a shift, so never leave everything to last minute. It's important to just get everything done as quick and as soon as possible, is what I would say. And just have a good relationship, have a good rapport with the people that you are working with, because it just will make everything so much easier if you can. Yeah, and bring a pen and a notebook. It's so important. You will never remember everything that you learned from your placement. Write everything down, and don't feel afraid to write things down. Even till this day, as a registered nurse, I write things down. I have my pen and paper after my handover sheet. I have my own personal to-do list, because there's so much things to remember. Like, I have to have a to-do list and tick things off. So if that's me after 3 years, then yeah, it just shows that you will never remember everything. Just write things down so you can learn, and you can actually go back and like revise what you've learned on your specific placement. Like, I still till this day have my little notebooks from when I was a student nurse on A and B placements, so if I ever want to go back and look at those stuff, I can. So it's actually very good, and it's a good memoir as well for you. And get feedback, guys. Don't be scared of patient feedback. I always tell my student, look, you did so well with this individual, why don't you get feedback from them? So it's good to really make the most of good situations. If you've got good feedback from somebody and you've worked very well with someone, get that feedback from that individual, and it's going to help you so much. Just think of placement as time to learn, and also to show evidence of what you have learned, show evidence of your good work. Make sure that that paperwork is done, but don't harass the individual. Just say it in a polite manner. I feel like being polite, being kind, it takes you so far with everything that you do. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was just little information about placement, which I think is so vital, and I feel like people don't express it so as much, but it is important for student nurses and for assessors as well. With assessors, it can be quite challenging as well, the aspect of ensuring that, you know, your student is actually achieving, and if they're not achieving, actually sitting down with them and speaking to them in a calm manner, in a respectful manner, because it can be a lot. Maybe they have situations that they're going through, maybe there's things that that needs to be discussed, if they're actually still fit and safe to actually be doing this placement, or if like the attitude needs to change, then liaising with them, and if not, liaising with the universities as well. So it is a lot, it is a big challenge, it is a big responsibility being a practice assessor as well as being a student, guys. I'm seeing it from both sides now, but I just think at the end of the day, both roles, being a student and being an assessor, it's all for a good cause. So if working with one another just helps so much. I hope you enjoy this video. I am back next week for another video. I think next week we're going to do a vlog. Don't mark my words, but most likely we'll be doing a vlog. I feel like I'm in the mood for a vlog. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much. Please continue to follow my new Instagram, which is Nurse Diaries UK. That's Nurse Diaries UK on Instagram. So if you have my old Instagram, please just don't even use that one. Follow me on Nurse Diaries UK on Instagram and on TikTok as well. Thank you so much for watching this. Please do subscribe, share this channel with friends. See you next week.